Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. We'll be starting shortly this webinar. We're just gonna give it a couple of minutes for people to join, and we can start with introductions. Thank you very much for participating in. You're welcome to tell us where you are. For us, you have like a sense of what geography is represented in this webinar. So feel free to write on the chat. So now, officially starting with a quick introduction about myself. My name is Bruno Rodrigues. I'm an admissions officer at Forward College. I'm originally from Brazil. I have now nearly 15 years of experience in the education sector with a strong focus on student recruitment and admissions in across South America and Europe. And today we will have the pleasure of having Sasha, one of our student ambassadors, to help me talk a little bit more about Ford College and her own experience of course, her own experience about Ford College, as she's now currently in her last third year in Berlin. Not exactly right now, right, Sasha? But yeah, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, well, thank you, Bruno. My name is Sasha. I'm a third year student here at Forward College, and I'm studying data science and business analytics, as well as doing a bachelor's plus. Yeah, as Bruno said, I'm currently in Berlin in my final year, and currently I'm on holidays. Luckily, in my hometown in Podgorica in Montenegro. So yeah, thank you for joining, and you'll be hearing soon enough from me to talk about my experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sasha. Yeah, and Sasha, she will be with us all the way. So at the end, if you have any questions regarding, her student experience with us, so feel free to ask. And of course, we're gonna save at least 10 to 15 minutes at the end of this webinar, so you can ask your questions. I think it's a better organization. So hold your questions for the last 15 minutes of the webinars because we're going to have plenty of time to answer them. Don't worry about it. So today in this webinar, we invite you to see your studies as a transformative journey. So I'll show you what makes Forward College unique and how our programs can shape your academic and professional future by breaking it down into the accreditation bodies, the way we teach, our leadership programs, and of course, our international expedition. Let's start here with the Forward College in terms of the way that we stand out for our dual approach to higher education. So students can choose between British academic excellence through partnership with top UK institutions like the University of London, or our own multidisciplinary programs, both built to prepare you for the modern challenge, of course. And here we have a little bit of an illustration of how these institutions are combined. So basically, our British academic track delivers excellence through partnership with the University of London, especially with LSE, London School of Economics, and King's College London. So basically, London's LSE and King's College London, they belong to the University of London. They are institutions under the University of London umbrella, as you can kind of see here in this illustration. And we offer the Bachelor of Science degrees in data science, like Sasha is doing, economics, business and management, politics and international relations, and psychology. So these degrees are internationally recognized with London School of Economics and King's College London, which are institutions ranked among the top 10 universities in Europe. So very prestigious universities. And of course, University of London, they have other several institutions under their umbrella, like UCL, University College London, like Queen's Mary, Imperial College. So they all belong to the University of London as institutions. As we go ahead, so we have in this partnership, you get the best of both worlds. So world-class curriculum academic design by LSE and King's College, which also manages the exams. It's taught by Forward College professors who are vetted by these institutions right here on campus. So when I say here, I didn't mention at the beginning, I'm sorry, but I'm based in Lisbon, your first city. And of course, we have the second being Paris and the third one being Berlin. And also having the University of London as the awarding body, so providing you with international respected qualification, right? Basically, you have University of London awarding as an awarding body, and LSE and King's College London institutions who design your curriculum, who creates the curriculum that you're going to study, the content itself, right? Then we have our open bachelor's program. So brings the US liberal arts model to Europe. Basically, in your first year, you explore freely before specializing in years 2 and 3. Majors include data science and AI, management and innovation, economics, and politics, international relations. With leadership and contemporary challenges at the core of this program specifically. This degree is accredited by the French government, so it's a French degree, and it's also recognized internationally, like the British degree that I have just introduced to you. So, and then we have recently introduced 2 cutting-edge interdisciplinary programs. So we have the PPE, which is Philosophy, Politics, and Economics, and the PPLE, the Psychology, Politics, Law, and Economics. Program. So these programs are combined theory and real-world application as you study in 3 European countries. So the academic journey is always the same. That doesn't change. You're always traveling as you are moving from one year to another, preparing you for the complexities of today's world and for leadership roles. Moving ahead now to talk about our teaching approach. We have here at Forward College, as we believe in personalized teaching with small class sizes. So you have 15 students, as you can see here, on average per class. We have the one-on-one tutoring that we do it could be from a fortnight or a weekly basis with regular assessments. Our active learning pedagogy uses the flipped classroom, teamwork, and project-based learning. And the results speaks for themselves with a 98.5% pass rate and high honors for many students. And here, as of course, you might not understand what the flipped classroom means. So the flipped classroom approach is different from the traditional one that we have. So for example, the traditional approach, you go to class, you attend class, and then you have your homework later on, right? The flipped classroom approach, we basically flip it. So you have to do your readings first. So prepare yourself to attend class. And once you're stepping to the class, all the students, they have already been briefed because they have already but at least they have done the readings about the content that's going to be taught in that specific day in class. So you don't have a lecture experience, right? It's not like the professor presenting the content to you because you already know the content. It's more like diving to the subject, having discussions, and have a much more dynamic kind of classroom approach and dynamic. So moving now to present a little bit of our leadership program. So let me walk you through the leadership program, so which focuses on entrepreneurship and project management across those 3 years that you're going to study with us. So in year one, students they begin with social impact and sustainability. This is where they build awareness of global challenges and learn how to create meaningful, responsible solutions that have a positive impact on society. Then in year two, the focus shifts to digital entrepreneurship. Here, students develop practical business skills, explore innovation, and learn how to turn ideas into real digital ventures. Finally, when we land in year three, students specialize through consulting and research. In consulting, they work on real world business challenges, while research allows them to dive deeper into topics of interest and develop strong analytical and problem solving skills. This last one would be mostly for psychology students. Basically, overall, the program is designed to progressively build leadership, entrepreneurial thinking, and hands on experience, preparing students to lead projects and create impact in the real world. Um, Moving along, so when we have the part of the personal development part of this leadership program, so we also strongly focus on this personal development over those 3 years. In year one, as you can see here, so the emphasis is on social intelligence. Students learn how to communicate effectively, build meaningful connections through social initiatives, collaborate with others, and develop skills in influence and negotiation. In year two, the focus changes to emotional intelligence. This is where students, they deepen their self-awareness, understand their motivations, build courage, and improve resilience. They also learn how to manage stress and maintain balance, which can be quite tricky and challenging, and skills that are essential both personally and professionally, of course. So finally, in year three, the program prepares students for their future through leadership and career development. They basically refine their leadership abilities and focus on career readiness, ensuring they are well prepared to enter the professional world with confidence for this year three. And again, overall, this part of the program is about developing not just strong professionals, but well rounded individuals who can lead, adapt, and thrive in any environment. Here you have a little better understanding of how we have these different degrees and awarding bodies breaking down, and also how it looked like in terms of the personal development distribution along the degrees from Forward College, from the University of London degrees, and yeah, you can have a better idea in terms of workload also, because you can do the UWL programs, the University of London degrees, under 3 different programs. So you can do the bachelor's, single bachelor's, without the personal development certificate. Without the leadership degree, the leadership program. Or you can do the bachelor's plus with some personal development certificates, and so partially personal development certificates and entrepreneurship projects. So you don't do everything, you do part of it, as Sasha is doing, if I'm not mistaken. And you have the double bachelor's, where you have the degree that you have initially chosen, for example, Sasha data science, and then you have the leadership program all together in those 2 years. And you can see a little bit of the illustration here for the difference between them. And of course, now we have the international component of Forward College. And for that, I will invite Sasha, our student ambassador, to present a little bit of these three different countries where you have, as you can see here, Lisbon as the first country, Paris the second, and Berlin the third. And yeah, I do believe that Sasha is much better than me to present this. So she has gone through all of these countries. Now she's in Berlin. So she can give a little bit more of taste for those experience that she's gone through. So yeah, Sasha, please take it away.
Thank you. So yeah, I will be talking about the expedition I took off on 3 years ago. As you probably already know, you spent 3 of your years of your undergraduate studies in 3 European cities over 3 years. So the first year you spend in Lisbon, second year you spend in Paris, and your final year you spend in Berlin. 3 very, very big European cities. However, they do bring a completely different and unique experience. In all of the 3 countries, we have dedicated learning centers. So I will start off with explaining a little bit what Lisbon is all about. Again, you start your year in Portugal, in a very, very, very sunny place, and you will realize how much this matters when you move to Paris, and then especially when you move to Berlin. So you see here is our newest learning center, which is called Soriano, and I would argue that it is it's the biggest of all learning centers in all 3 cities. What you see here is the central room in our campus. It has a lot of space for you to work and go through your readings, as well as a big garden. Not a garden, sorry, excuse me, a rooftop with a view over Lisbon, and you're going to get a lot of viewpoints over Lisbon where you can chill and relax with your friends. Again, really absorb that sunlight. What you see here is an example of a meditation room, one of the favorite rooms among our students, where you can simply, I guess, even take a nap. We used to take naps a lot back in Lisbon, and this is even a more advanced meditation room than what we used to have. So this is our second learning center and our second campus facility in Lisbon. It's called Flourish. Again, this is the co-working space at our campus. You can see some of the students probably working very hard before their seminars. Again, this is the example of the meditation room where we took a lot of time to relax and maybe read and focus on some other activities just to get our brain off of the academics for a little bit. Also, same as in Soriano, there's always going to be a little bit of an outside space area where you can either have lunch or maybe talk to your teachers and fellows as well as other students. This is again another co-working area in our Lisbon campus. One of the bigger, I would say, biggest working places we definitely used a lot before an exam season is the co-working space that's located right next to the ZO residence. It's again right next to the area where you live in, and it's very accessible, and especially in maybe later times during the night or early in the morning where you just want to do something quick before you get off to public transport. There's also a coffee machine in the room, so it's very I would say equipped for little study sessions. Could I have the in the same co-working space, exactly due to its proximity to the student residence, we used to have a lot of gatherings with our peers. This is an example of a birthday celebration. Each month we would celebrate the people that had birthdays that month, and with some cake and, of course, a birthday song that you would sometimes awkwardly stand and listen, but it was a nice experience to just hang out again in a space that was really, really close to where we lived in. Now, I guess what would interest most of you is the living space and where you lived in. This is an example of a ZIOR room. So ZIOR is the student residence in Lisbon. All of the students had the opportunity to live in a single room where you would have your own bed and your own private bathroom. However, in most cases, you would need to share a kitchen. There's two options where you can have the situation which I just explained, or a situation where you can even have your own kitchenette, depending, I guess, on your budget and how much you want to spend. Student life in Lisbon is very, very outside focused, especially because of the good weather. We formed our own student clubs and each year, and what I would say the long surviving club of Lisbon has been the surfing club, which you can see on the upper left picture, where people would generally just form groups and go surfing, which I don't think is a common case for most of the universities. I would highlight maybe the hiking opportunity. We did a lot of hiking routes, and really absorbed the nature of Portugal in a communal way. Yeah. So your second year brings you to Paris. Very, very different atmosphere than in Lisbon, I would argue. What you see here is our campus facility. In campus, it is located in the 14th arrondissement of Paris. And it's a campus that not only hosts forward students, but also students from other universities in France. And I'm talking thousands of international students pursuing their bachelor's, master's, or PhD degrees in Paris. Yeah, so it's a very, very lovely building. This is an example of the learning center room in Paris. We had, I think, around 3 to 4 classrooms, each located in the same building, with always a nice little seating area as well. This is a co-working space in the Paris campus, where we had our microwave and coffee machine, and a lovely space to have either group meetings or, again, for focus on our own readings. A perk of the Cité campus is the fact that it has its own facilities that are free of charge to use for all of us living at the campus. This is a big library that is located, again, in the same building where we have our classes. So it's completely free of charge, and you can use it with a great view and a great facility. Another great thing about Cité campus is that there is a range of sports you can play, and not only have a physical activity at hand, but also an opportunity to meet other residents at Cité. The sports range from tennis courts, basketball courts, football courts, even judo and karate, and swimming, which I think you will see a swimming pool on one of the next slides, which is crazy, but that exact swimming pool is located in the same building you're going to be having your classes held at, and the library. So yeah, a lot of us would join either clubs or would go independently on our own and use these facilities. For all the music people out there, there's of course an opportunity to join a local orchestra or a choir, and a couple of people in my year did that. And not only you get to practice your instruments, but also an opportunity for all of your other peers to come and watch you. We did that quite a lot with a couple of our students. We would go to their concerts and recitals, and it was quite lovely as well. This is an example of where you would live in. This is the exact building where I spent my second year in Paris, and it dates back to 1800s. And I think it was the oldest student residence in Paris, and it hosted a lot of mathematicians. And yeah, you can see the whole history on the walls of the common spaces of this building. Again, this building is located on the same campus where your building where you would be attending lessons are. This is an example of the room. Now, what's unique about Paris is that, unlike Lisbon, where you only had like 2 options, you have several options of what kind of room you would like to live in. I lived in a room where I had my private room and bed, but I was sharing a bathroom, shower, and kitchen with other residents. Of course, you have options to either have your own room and a bathroom and share a kitchen, or you can have a whole little studio to yourself. There's plenty of houses at this campus, and so there's plenty of options for you to choose from. Student life, as I mentioned, in Paris, it's a little bit different than in Lisbon. The weather is not so nice, but there's plenty things to see. From cultural heritage and activities, Paris is, again, a hubspot for tourists for a good reason. There's a lot of museums that you can go to for free of charge if you're under 26. We even went to the Opera Garnier 2 times, I think, for very, very stupid a price. I think it was around 10 euros to enter. And of course, Forward organizes a lot of events as well. And us as students also organize a lot of gatherings, and we go around the city and visit buildings. And it's quite a great, I think, way to explore the city. And again, I would emphasize the importance of that you're living on a campus, that it's very, very international, and you're going to have plenty of opportunities to integrate with yourself within that community as well. I would have to mention that it's very strongly encouraged for you to live at the student residence in your year 1 and your year 2, as again, your first year you're living in Lisbon, you need to meet all of your peers, and I think living in a student residence is a very, very great way to do that via sharing the common spaces like kitchens and study areas. In Paris, the benefit of you living at the Cité campus is absolutely unmatched, and you do get a lot of opportunities from that as well. Moving on to Berlin, year 3. Congratulations, at this point you've made it. You've seen Lisbon and Paris through and through, and now you're moving to the capital of Germany, a very, very international place to live in. You can genuinely go around and work in Berlin without knowing a single word of German. That's what I'm currently doing. You're moving to what you see this building right now. It's called CIC. It's the place where the campus facilities are located at, but it's also a co-working space that hosts a lot of startups and people trying to make their own businesses work. And it's a great networking opportunity. So you do kind of move from this introductory kind of lifestyle oriented studying to, academic life in Paris. And then finally you move to Berlin, starting to prepare for your professional life. And I think the CIC campus is a great way to do that. CIC campus, I think, would be the best campus at, providing some miscellaneous things like coffee, snacks, and breakfast even. What you see here is the kitchen. The building has four floors, and even though Forward is only located at like two of them, you are free to move around the whole 4 floors. The building is huge and it has 4 kitchens. And again, an opportunity to meet a lot of people, but also steal some snacks from each building, as we do have free snacks available around 3 p.m. Yeah, and this is a place where we hang out a lot during our working days. Also CIC has a great cafeteria. It has meals ready for around 7 to 8 euros if you're a member of the CIC club, which you are as a Forward College student. Sometimes we would go down here and have either a coffee, a cake, or like a whole meal. So yeah. CIC, as I said, is a great networking place, and what it does best is organizes network events. Either we had a lot of AI talks and events for startup businesses to kind of try meet up and find workforce, which is a great way for you to, as a student, to come in and find out what the business at the moment is all about, and see if you could potentially start working for them and find an internship. So I would say this is a great opportunity to utilize, not only to inform yourself on vast issues, but also to kind of launch yourself into the professional world. Student accommodation in Berlin, I would say that for sure, as well as in Lisbon and Paris, there's a guaranteed option for you to choose and stay in a student accommodation. There's a guaranteed spot offered by several student residences in Berlin, depending on your budget and your preference. You can choose. Again, what is a new thing about student accommodation in Berlin is that you can this time choose to live in one of the student residences that offer whole apartments with 3 rooms. So if you find 2 roommates to live with, you guys can share this apartment for a very, very cheap price as well. Student life in Berlin, I would say that at this point you've became familiar with the people you're going to Forward College with. there's this some sort of a future nostalgia feeling that you're getting. You've spent this unique experience with your peers, and you want to make the most out of it. So what I found this year, that people have been way more into organizing get-togethers, whether that is within the CIC facilities or going out in the city and simply having fun. Berlin Berlin, I would say, night and entertainment life is really, really unmatched. There's plenty of things to do for people who are into artistic things, or there are people who are into, I would say, music for sure. There's bunch of opportunities for you to go out and experience things. So yeah, no place like Berlin, I would say. What I think we've done the most this year is really make the use of the cheap food options in Berlin and the internationality of it. What we would say, Berlin is very tasty. There's plenty of cultures having food stands and markets, flea markets as well, a big thing. We do go on our Sunday flea markets run quite often. Again, Berlin Marathon is a big thing here. A lot of people, I think not a lot, but like around 2 people have run the marathon this year. So yeah, there's plenty of options to choose from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Tasha, for introducing us for these incredible 3 different European cities that the students they go through. Again, just to remember you guys at the end of the webinar, Sasha will be with us in case you have any questions regarding her experience in particular. So now we go through, after Berlin, you have the outcome, right, of this academic journey. And here you have, after graduating from Forward College, so 47%. So basically, we started back in 2021. So we have already 2 cohorts graduated from us, 2024 and 2025. And Sasha's cohort is going to be the 3rd one now in 2026. And based on those cohorts, we had so far 47% of our students pursuing master's programs after graduation, while 53% start professional roles. So virtually 50% here, breaking down. Impressively, we had 76% of our graduates continue their studies or starting their careers in Europe's top 15 universities and business schools. Okay, let's talk a little bit more, or start talking a little bit of admissions now, because we haven't spoken about admissions yet. So, of course, at Forward College, we accept all of the national diplomas, high school diplomas in the world. But here we are just putting the international ones just to have like an overall view of what our requirements are like. So, for example, you have the A levels, the British A levels, which is also international in terms of high school diploma, and we ask a ABB, so over 3 A levels, which is the standard. We ask ABB along 3 A levels as a minimum academic requirement. And for the IB, the International Baccalaureate Diploma, we ask 35 as a minimum requirement out of 45. Also, of course, we all of our degrees in all of the countries that you're going to study, regardless of their language, you're going to always be taught in English, 100% in English. Therefore, we have English proficiency requirements, and we basically accept all the main English proficiency tests like IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge, Duolingo English test is another one that has been recently accepted by many other, or all the British universities also. And Pearson is another option also. So unless you have studied your high school 100% in English, you don't have to submit English proficiency. Otherwise, you have to, right? And of course, if you're from English native country, you don't have to, obviously. On top of that, you have, when you do your application with us, we ask you to do a reflective essay based on your extracurricular activities, which we value a lot and during our application process. So everything that you have done out of your school during those years, and even before that. And of course, that's the first stage. We evaluate, and then in case you're deemed eligible, you are invited to an admissions interview later on. Here you can see you have a better visibility of the breaking down of the stages. The application is done online directly to our platform, our website, and you don't have to pay any application fee. You just go straight there, start your application. Once you submit your application, you have the opportunity to book a student conversation with one of our student ambassadors, like Sasha, for example. Of course, you're going to be connected to the students who are doing the degree that you're interested in enrolling with us. And it's very important. This student conversation is very important because you have a better grasp of the student experience at Forward College by a student themselves, and also you can also have like a kind of preparation for your next stage of the application process, which is the admissions interview. In case you want to ask questions regarding how does the interview works, and if they have any tips, and I'm pretty sure the student ambassador would have many tips to give you before admissions interview. After that, you go to the admissions interview. It's a half-an-hour interview. We ask questions, you ask questions, you are more than welcome to ask questions also, and you are mainly there trying to, excuse me, just you have a little bit of water. You're mainly there, so the goal there, it's basically to understand your motivations towards the degree that you're applying to. And after that, you have finally the admissions decision 2 weeks after the interview assessment. And we also provide the answer regarding your online application once you submit it within 2 weeks. So overall, the process shouldn't take longer than a month, 4 weeks, until you receive your final decision, your offer, for example. Here you can have a little bit more, a better idea in terms of tuition. So we have tuition starting from 18,000 euros per year. This is tuition fee. It does not include accommodation. And then we have on our website, in the dedicated page, we have a breaking down of what's the living cost that you should be aware of each city that you're going to study with us. So Lisbon, Paris, and Berlin, being Paris the most expensive, Lisbon the cheapest, and Berlin something in the middle, somewhere in the middle, basically. And of course, we also offer financial aid at the beginning of your application. We're going to ask you whether or not you would like to be considered for financial aid, if you need financial aid in order to study with us. And in case you do, you just click yes, and later on in the application process, you're going to be allowed to submit a financial aid application form where you need to submit some documents, some information, and we evaluate and provide you with a decision. And you can get up to 100% scholarship with us, depending on your grades, of course, and your financial need. You can get 50% scholarship. You can get a combination of scholarships and loans, because we also provide loans. These loans are 0% interest loans. So we're basically lending money to you. So you're borrowing money from us, and you pay later on between 5 to 7 years after graduation with no interest rate. And you can have, depending on your financial aid outcome, a combination, a package of loans with scholarships, or only loans, only scholarships, or none. Of course, it depends on your application. Okay. Here you can have a better idea in terms of timeline and where you are right now. So we have gone through all those, almost all of those wave of applications that we have, starting there back in November last year. So we teach in very small classes, so the spots are very limited. 15 students per class. Our entire cohort during the year, it can vary, but around 150 students that we recruit. So spots are limited, as I said. The sooner you apply, the better, in order to have more chances to guarantee your spot in case you receive an admissions offer from us. And our last wave of application is now for May 31st. But please, in case you're, in this webinar, you have enrolled students starting their applications during the middle of the process. But if you haven't started your application yet, I highly recommend you to start as soon as possible, and do not leave to the deadline, May 31st, because if you leave maybe for the program that you are interested in, you will no longer have spots available, because we are already at the end of our application waves. We recently have an open day. It was amazing. It was in Paris. Our open days are usually in Paris, the second city. We had these open days, this first open day a few weeks ago, and we're going to have the second and last open day in Paris in May the 30th, starting at 1 p.m. So you have the address here in case you are interested in getting to know our staff, our professors, as we call them, fellows at Forward College. If you're interested in connecting to the admissions team, like me, and also, of course, if you are interested to get to know our facilities, it's such a great experience and a special day for us, the open day. So you're all invited to attend this second and last open day in Paris in May. So next month in the May the 30th. Here you have the email address for our student ambassadors. In case you want to chat with them, you can always schedule from the link. Of course, we're going to share this presentation with you by the end of the day tomorrow. It should be on your email. All of this, the presentation, it's being recorded also, so you're going to have that on your site by the end of the day tomorrow. So here are the link and the email for these investors in case you want to ask some specific questions for the students. And here I have a quick video I'm going to play to you. And then we can start with the question session. Okay, I'm really sorry. I think we had some problem with the audio of our video. I'm not sure. I'm trying to check right now. In case we sort it out by the end, I can show you back the video. I'm really sorry. And yes, now we can open for questions. I can just so we have yes, perfectly timed. I think we have still 15 minutes, so we can I can answer your questions, and I can go through them. Okay, let's have a look in terms of questions that we have. Yeah, and yes, we have people from all over. So we have Stockholm here, Nabil. We have from India. We have from Canada. We have from Europe, and yeah, people from Europe especially, which is only natural. And yeah, we have India. We have America. We and yeah, we can go through the questions. I'm just checking here on the chat. Please make sure that you send, when you ask your question, you send to everyone the question so everyone can see, and I can also see your questions. But yeah, and again, thank you very much for attending it. So we have Anosha. No, we have Aisha first, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Aisha, where can I know about the entire tuition and housing cost structure? Okay, that's a great question. So we have a dedicated page on our website for this. I can share with you here the link where you can see the breaking down of costs. Tuition is basically, the page is tuition fees and living costs. I'm sharing with you right now. So you have the tuition costs for each degree, each program, and the living costs for each city that you're going to study with us. And I'm sharing right now the link here on the chat. Thank you very much for your question. Here it is. Sorry. And then we have, I think I have shared. So we have another question from Anusha, in this case. Sorry, I'm just connecting. I have a bigger screen here in front of me and just turn it off, but now I can follow with them from my computer. So we have, hi, I wanted to know from Anusha, I wanted to know whether housing is provided by the college or if students arrange it themselves, and whether any travel or relocation expenses are supported. That's a great question also. Thank you very much, Anusha. So we do guarantee every single city that we teach, we do guarantee the accommodation. So you have these options that we have shown during the presentation, and it's a little bit different, the setup. So basically, Lisbon and Berlin, it's similar in the way that you have your campus, your learning center, and you have your campus in a different location from this place, right? So it's not an on-campus accommodation like in Paris, but in all of those three cities, you have accommodation guaranteed in case you want to book it with us, with our partners, because we have a partnership with these accommodation providers, right? So you do have it guaranteed. You don't have to look for yourself, and the price are very reasonable, like average prices in the cities that you are studying, especially for students. So you can count on that, and you can see more details, the costs from the link I shared. But the living costs, they are not included in our tuition fees, obviously, and we do not offer any kind of financial aid towards living costs. This is another very important information for you to have on your side. So we do offer financial aid, but it's fully towards the tuition fees and not living costs. But yes, I hope I have answered your question, Anusha. So I think this question is from Neville. How much is the workload in a business plus bachelor's degree? I think it's a great question for Sasha to answer, to be honest. Sasha, could you
Yes,
Thank you.
happily. So yeah, again, the workload does depend on whether you're doing a single bachelor's plus, or a double bachelor. So it's a great thing that I'm doing the bachelor's plus degree. For your academic base, so for your academic bachelor, in this case, business and management, or economics and management, I think it's in the same area. But yeah, you have 4 core courses a year, and they all have designated 360-ish hours of work annually. So per year you're doing the course. Then it's up to you how you can spread this for yourself. However, at Forward College, we do have 1 seminar per course a week. And since we're operating under the flipped classroom approach, you do have to do your readings before each class. So that way you're prepared and you can fully engage in the session. I would say that for each seminar, I take around 2 to 3 hours to maybe prepare. So I would say multiply that by 4, and you get around 8 to 10 hours a week, I would say, in total for your academic base. In addition to your academic bachelor, you're going to have classes in personal development course, as well as a project in one of the 3 years. Personal development classes you're going to have in all 3 years. And as Bruno covered beforehand, that they deal with a variety of topics. But I would say that that also adds around 2 hours to 2 to 3 classes per each week. And I would say that maybe that added around 1 hour or 2 hours of a workload a week, I would say, because there's independent assignments that relate to personal development and PBL courses. So yeah, I would say the workload is completely manageable. And if you organize yourself efficiently, you will manage to have a life outside of the academics, which I think is very important as well. So I did survive, and you can too. Good luck.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Nabil, for the question. So the second question from Nabil is, if if we receive an acceptance letter, is that a conditional acceptance offer or a final offer? So it depends. It depends. So in case you haven't finished your high school yet, it will always be a conditional offer because you haven't finished your high school yet. So you don't have your final grades. Therefore, we cannot have a final a final document to evaluate your application. So in these cases, you receive a conditional offer. This condition could be towards English proficiency. Also, for example, you have finished high school, but you're from a country who doesn't speak English and you haven't studied English in your high school. So you're going to still have a conditional offer because you need to provide the English proficiency. But the the English proficiency, the final high school diploma, you can always provide it later on by August, basically. So you don't have to worry about it. So if you don't have now English proficiency, you can prepare for the test and you can do the test and provide it by August this year, for example. But yeah, you only have a unconditional offer in case you have finished high school and you don't have to provide, or you have already provided the English proficiency. That's when you have an unconditional offer. Regardless of the case, if it's conditional or unconditional, you are more than welcome to enroll with us, and you finish your registration once you deliver those condition documents later on in the process. So now we have another question from Jade or Jadi. On the website for the 26-27 academic calendar, are the PPE or in the PPLE degrees the same as the Open Bachelor's academic calendar? Not necessarily, for 2 reasons. First reason, the PPE and PPLE by design, they can only be done in the Bachelor's Plus configuration. Basically, you cannot do single bachelors, you cannot do double bachelors. It's only Bachelor's Plus because they're designed that way. These are the only degrees that can only be done in the Bachelor's Plus program, right? So therefore, it would be already different from the Open Bachelor's calendar. Secondly, is these are brand new programs, degrees in this case. So these degrees are brand new, and we're starting with them this year in September, as the Open Bachelor restarted in September last year. So it will differ slightly from the academic calendar from the open bachelors. Thank you for the question, Jadi or Jade, and we have Aisha asking another questions regarding the, as someone from a middle class, is the entire thing worth it? I think in terms of financially speaking, I think you mean, Aisha. Of course, academically, in terms of experience, I do believe it's definitely worth it. But in terms of financially speaking, in a way that you, if that fits in your personal budget, um, if it doesn't, you need to submit financial aid, right? You need to click yes for financial aid application, so we can evaluate your financial aid application and let you know whether or not we can support you somehow, financially speaking. You coming from the middle class, for example. When you submit financial aid, the financial aid application, you're going to submit your family tax returns. So it's a detailed information that you're providing to us as an institution, so we can evaluate for financial need and later on merits how the financial aid package will be applied to your case specifically. Of course, I cannot give you much details or further details here, as we need to go through the financial aid application first. But basically, that's how it works. Primarily, we're going to evaluate based on your financial needs, and secondly, in merits. That's how it works mainly. What it means, if you cannot prove by the documents that you don't necessarily need financial support to study with us, even if you have very good grades, it's less likely that you're going to receive much financial aid from us, because our financial aid is mainly focused on financial need, right? But it's a great question also. Thank you very much. Very good questions in this webinar so far. Then you have Neville, another question. What does a typical day look like in each year? And that's another great question for Sasha, I would say.
I can tell you on average what a day, I guess, looks like. I would say that depending on whether you have class in the morning or not, you're gonna probably wake up at a very different time. Our earliest class begins at 9 in the morning. And it's important to note that in Lisbon, you're located around 30 minutes in time away from the learning center. If you're living in Zior, it's around a 15-minute commute by the metro. So you do have to take that one into account when you're going to class. Some of us didn't, and we paid that price. And then I would say that we do have around 2 to 3 classes in one day, which each of them lasting around 2 hours, with breaks in between as well, of course. We also did have days where we didn't have any classes, and that would be, I think everyone did have one day off at least. And in those cases, you would probably do independent work as well. As you saw in our presentations, there's plenty of workspaces for you to do your independent study, and as well as collaborate with your peers. So I would say mostly spend a lot of the time on the campus, especially because it's very convenient, a lot of space to study as well as socialize, free coffee, which is great. And yeah, after we're done with, I would say the latest class runs until I think 6:30. Maybe you will have 2 language classes a week, depending on the country you're from. So Portuguese, French, and German, we would have those, I guess, mostly at the end of the day. So it would be a nice way to end the day sometimes. And then I think in Lisbon, we mostly stayed around the learning center quite a lot, because the learning center is in the dead center of Lisbon. So there's plenty of things going around, and we would either go and grab a drink, maybe grab a bite somewhere, and then all go back together to the student residence. In Paris, after you finish your last class, you're probably at home, considering you're living on campus. And we would take this opportunity to, leave the campus and explore the city of Paris. And then in Berlin, if it's in winter, after our last class, we would go and sleep. and hibernate because it was very, very dark outside. However, now that the spring is around, we do spend a lot of time in parks, either with friends. I like to go and read. So I would say that it's a great balance of the academics and your personal activities as well.
Thank you very much, Sasha. So we have to wrap up as our time is up. So thank you very much for all you guys to attend. And of course, in case you have further questions, please do send us an email to admissions at in our admissions email, and we are going to be happy to answer your questions. Okay. Thank you very much, and hopefully we're going to receive some communication from you soon. Thank you.